You could, you wouldn't get like the dimensionality of it, but you could kind of like stamp the kind of like image that you want it, but
I made a mistake when I soldered. It didn't go all the way down. So you can see there's a major gap here, and we're gonna fix that today. Beryl is going to do some soldering magic for me to try to close that opening. And so this is what they're gonna explain.
so our gap is right here. So I'm just gonna flow the solder and try to move it to see if it'll just settle into place so that the gap goes away. And we can also try to center it, because I remember that was something you mentioned last week too.
And if I understand this correctly, what you're doing is you're heating up the metal, and it's going to make the original solder liquid again.
Yeah.
Ah, and when it's liquid, you can then move it around as you move around liquid. Oh, I see.
Exactly.
And Beryl mentioned that because they already knew that this the bezel fits, we are able to move it along the shaft of the ring, the ring shank.
That's the idea. That's the theory.
Oh, so
Sometimes
that's
it
the
doesn't
theory.
always work out the way we want it to, but sometimes we just try the easiest thing and sometimes it works out.
Yes. So we are experimenting right now. This is part of the fun in making jewelry, is there's no one way to solve a problem. We have to experiment, and this is actually very fun to experiment.
That's really well put, yeah.
We can see they're going underneath that ring shaft to heat it from the bottom. Very similar to what the Capricorn instructor told us in the other class. Can't remember his name. But yes, heating it from the bottom is really good. We don't heat it from the top. That's a no-no, I believe. So yes, from the sides is best. They're not heating this too much. It is not going to melt because the heat is hot, but it's not too hot, because look at how the fire looks. The fire is not too intense. The fire is not low either. It's more medium. So it's also a good skill you'll learn over time. Or, well, we will learn over time.
I think I do need a bigger torch tip though.
Oh, all right. Well, actually, we will need a bigger torch, so we're gonna get a bigger torch.
Because I don't think that was enough.
That wasn't enough, actually. So now we can see. This is totally normal as far as how that color looks like that. It's not, this is not glowing. This is an example of it being okay. I don't know how to describe that. If it were glowing, that would mean it's too hot and it's a second away from melting. We're not there yet. And we're not going to get there, actually. Beryl's like, no, we're not. Now you can see here, it's much more red. That's so pretty. But you can also see how the original solder is kind of bubbling at the end points.
think I spent too much time trying to get it up to heat with the little one. So it created too much oxidation.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put it in the pickle, and then we're gonna just try it with the big one.
Okay.
And I think then we won't have to. We'll start fresh.
Okay.
Out by just wetting this toothbrush and taking some pumice and trying to get in those tight corners. And it definitely helped.
What is the ingredients of hummus, or is that the item itself?
Pumice is the material itself, which is like a finely crushed stone.
We're adding the flux. And now we're going to give it another try to add it to the fire.
Okay.
Now it's all clean, and there's flux on it. So pretty on camera.
Alright, this is being very stubborn.
No.
Okay.
So the solder's not melting, so we're gonna have to do a plan B.
Which I think is just gonna be like gently tapping, gently hammering this side down so that it's a gap that we can just solder close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Using some pumice to clean the inside of this. Oh, we used a toothbrush, my goodness. Okay, so there we go. Now we got the toothbrush. And we can scrub on the inside like so.
Yeah. How do you make that?
And you can see that it's
like read all of them and then was like, I can't believe I was into that, and now it's coming back around.
In order for it to sit flat here, we need to file like that little corner down so that it also is flush to that side.
So for context, it opened up when we tried to hammer it to the shank, and we don't know how that happened. It's just magic. Try to do what Beryl just said, and that technique, lovely.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is Beryl helped me close the split that was here, and so now I'm going to sand it down so that this bezel is flat. There we go. So that this bezel is flat. And then we'll somehow, put that in there and they'll be coming along. I'm gonna start with 320. That should be enough. And we're gonna go in the shape of a figure 8. Ooh, it's starting to come along. Look how it's starting to look flat. See? It's good. I'm gonna go see what Beryl thinks of this and see if this is good enough. Whenever you put the jewel in, you have to put like this piece of floss in too, so it can easily pop out when you're done with it. So I kind of do this to kind of get it. See? And then I just so you can kind of play around with how it looks. That stone is really popping out. More than I really kind of expected it to.
How's that going?
Oh, okay. I just learned.
Sorry.
No. Okay, so I just learned this is actually a bit too low. So I'm gonna create another bezel, and that doesn't fit so low. Or we're gonna use the bezel that I was working on earlier that was too small. Because Beryl thinks it will still be fine after all. So I will be back to let you know how that goes.